Hi. this, this is not a happy video. Nothing horrible happened. Here's the thing. I have values, and the 23 for 23 challenge has brought to the forefront for me that my current reading habits are not reflecting those values. So here's how this happened. In Black History Month, I realized I wasn't reading with intention when I realized I didn't have any Black authors on my February, like in the books I've read in February. And I was like, okay, I'm going to start reading with intention. I don't think what I did for that was I started tracking authors that I was reading and like noticing after the fact who was of color. And looking back, not the best scenario there. That's not really reading with intention, I don't think. I think building the TBRs with intention is reading with intention. There. I think that for me, the way my brain works, I was like, well, I'll just read books I'm interested in, and inevitably, they will be authors of color. And that is true in some cases, but not true in others, especially if you're like interested in something because it's popular, because you've heard a lot about it on the tubes and the talks and the IG, the gram, you know? That has led to an outcome for me where I have, oops, don't look at that, where I have these, don't look at my garbage, but this is the ratio from my spreadsheet of how many white to of color authors that I've read this year. Abysmal. And I understand if you're giving me this side eye right now, I get it because I'm giving myself this side eye, bombastic side eye, what's going on? Now, if you don't know anything about me, I was raised in a little southern panhandle town, very whitewashed, in a small church community that was predominantly white. I like to call myself, sometimes I'm like, as a former white girl, because I truly, literally, I had a mentor in my teens be like, you know you're Black, right? And I was like, what are you talking about? Because I was so disconnected from my culture, disconnected from my people, disconnected from everything about Blackness growing up, which is really sad and not a way that I would want anyone to grow up, or a child of mine to grow up, or any Black kid to grow up in. Because just being in predominantly white spaces is one thing, being completely disconnected from your culture is another. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, I definitely grew up just reading majority white authors. And so I think that getting into any authors of color seemed like I was reading a lot of them to me, but that's not true, is it? It's like that phenomenon where white people and men, like, they see like one woman and one person of color and they're like, well, they're half the cast, and like that's not true, but because they're so used to themselves taking up all the space, a new us taking up one piece of space, they're like, that's crazy. So this post, I mean, if you would like to drag me, you can. If you would like to, I don't know, whatever. I don't know, man. This post is just me holding myself accountable because I don't want this page to be a lie. Like, I don't want to be like talking about diversifying bookshelves and clearly I'm not doing well enough. Like, I would like to fix the problem. They're waking up energy, but this is what I woke up thinking about. Anyway, on Storygraph, it says I've read 40 books this year. That's a little inflated because they're counting the Heartstopper mini comics as their own books. So, according to my spreadsheet, I've only read, I think, around 35 books this year. But either way you count it, I've only read 10 authors of 10 books by authors of color out of 40 or 35. And I think I've made a post like this before where I was really embarrassed about my stats. And I genuinely thought that I had made a change in but clearly, like, looking back on my stats so far, clearly I have not made as big of a change as I thought I did. So, what I'm doing right now is I'm only reading authors of color until, at minimum, this is balanced out. Going forward, I'm just gonna check out who the author is before I pick something up. Even if a book, like, not to say I won't ever buy or pick up a white author ever again, but I need to prioritize my community. So Black community, women community, LGBT community. And I think the thing is that this year I have been prioritizing the LGBT community and fantasy, but unfortunately, the LGBT community has a big whitewashing problem, where we're all like, the white gays represent all of us, and like they don't. So I definitely want to read queer books from people of color. So that is my resolution going forward, is to look at the authors, because that can help you find what if I accidentally read a Jay Kristoff? Oh my god. What if I accidentally read Matt Shaw? Disgusting. Ah! Scary Spice. Jump scare. You know? Checking into the authors that I read from now on. Checking into the stories I'm reading from. Am I reading people of color? Like, I don't want to miss out on a great story just because of who the all like. I don't want to miss out on a great story by any author. I think I'm missing out on great stories from people of color because of what's popular, you know. So I will be reading, girl, I'm just going to work harder at this and do better. And by doing better, I mean balancing out these stats this year, doing the 23 for 23 challenge, and also after those two things, after this year has concluded, when I'm building my TBRs, I'm looking at how many people from my community am I looking at? How many people from other communities that I'm not a part of, that I've never been a part of? How many people from those communities am I talking to? You know, and this is a long video, and most people probably won't watch all of it, but it made me mainly this video's for me. This video's for me to be like, hey girl, this is where you're at right now, and we need to get up there. We need to go to the moon. We need to get out of here, out of the mud, because we're struggling. We're in the pits of despair. Just as a side note, so you can understand how completely delusional I am, I literally, when I saw the 23 for 23 challenge and I saw people saying, so check your TBR, how close are you to this goal on what you've already read this year? And I was like, light work reaction. I'm about to kill it. I thought that I had read so much. But I hadn't. And the delusion is a problem. The not really checking. Yeah, there's a lot of problems. But just so you understand the level of delusion. And so that I remember the level of delusion, and I don't let my delusional queen get me like that anymore. I can't get got like that. I've got to live in reality. Also, shout out Bookish Millennial for calling out white people, but got me too. Ooh. Calling out the whole community. Got me together all.